So I have a story to tell you.
Okay.
I was getting ready this morning very early, 6 a.m., and my sweet oldest daughter comes down the stairs because we're trying to train her for school because easily...
for the mornings.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
School's in a week, and she can easily sleep until noon.
Yeah.
Easily. Maybe 2, 3. At 12 years old. I don't know if that's something that most parents are experiencing. Anyway, 6 a.m., she comes down the stairs, and the first thing I get told is, Ma, you look slay. And I said, ooh, I love that. Why do I look slay? And she said, it's because I looked urban with my shirt, jeans, and my Nike cap.
You like a hat, don't you?
I
You
really
like a
pronounced
cap.
the P on that one. I do love caps. I actually love wearing hats. Like, hats is probably my jam.
I remember you saying that. You said that's like it feels affirming for you
So
when you wear
affirming,
a hat.
especially when I wear them backwards at the
Yeah,
gym
you told me that. Yeah,
because I feel really strong.
I love that.
So
I'm just now recently getting into hats.
Yeah?
They're a bit of a sensory thing sometimes. I don't love things on my head, but then they help for light and then also I just like the look of them.
They do look
yeah,
great.
And you can have fun things on your hat and just like communicate things to the world that I'm like, otherwise I don't want to say it out loud, but just a nice way to just present yourself, I guess, in different ways.
that's so true. Yeah. I appreciate that. How have you been?
Good. Lots of early mornings. So I kind of am with trying to find a new
Has JJRT
schedule.
been doing that to you?
I've had a lot of events and prepping for events. So yeah, early mornings. But then I get to watch sunrises, and that's really special. I don't always get to see a sunrise. And then in like 2 days back to back, I saw a sunrise and a sunset, and that just really filled my cup. And yeah, very special. You have really beautiful sunrises and sunsets here in London.
Do you think it's because we're so west?
Yeah, I don't know. And like also just like the
I don't even know what that
flatness of it
means.
as well.
I don't sound
well,
smart
you're
at
west
all.
of me.
You think it's because London's...
I think it's a lot of the landscape. That's part of it.
I was really trying to be super smart sounding there, and I'm like, that sounded dumb.
But no, when I drive west, then I get to see the sunset. So I was driving to Chatham, and I saw the sunset
Okay,
at
that's
that.
fair.
So that was really beautiful. And
We did catch both sunrise and sunset. And then Sasha, and for the folks out there who don't know who Sasha is, I don't know how you wouldn't know who he is. He's so great. But he's one of our recreation therapy assistants. And so we were all in the car together yesterday for our big event. And I said, oh my gosh, I just love all these sunsets I keep catching. Mm-hmm. No, sunrises, not sets. And he says, yeah, I don't think I remember the last time I caught a sunrise because he goes to bed so late and then sleeps through them. And then he said, actually, take that back. There's been many times I've probably seen a sunrise, but I wasn't getting up.
on his way to bed.
He's going
he
to
watches
bed.
the sunrise.
So, perspective.
Yeah, they're really beautiful. I would love to make that more of a priority of just like going out of my way to kind of see the sunrise and see the sunset. I've been trying to find a place to watch the sunset where I live, which is not the easiest thing to do depending on where you live. And I realized recently that the sunset, there was not an obvious way to see it. But I found a spot. And so now I'm just going to keep going back to visit it and just park the car at 6 and just watch it or walk there and just enjoy.
I feel like we've said sunset a lot.
Yeah, we did.
It's the nerves. Are you ready for this? Are you ready to meet our guest?
Yes, I am ready to meet our guest. I feel ready.
Excited too. For everyone out there listening today, I am struggling only slightly because after you told me that the voice actually was a bit appealing, maybe I'm not struggling as much, but physically I might be a little bit. So I lost my voice because I decided to take my oldest to Canada's Wonderland on Friday. And
you enjoyed yourself.
oh my gosh, we did the new Alpine Fury. I don't know how many people out there have done that ride, but it is intense. Like so fast, so okay, here's how fast it is. My hair was up in the classic Jess bun. It was completely unraveled, disheveled by the end of the ride. Like my elastic had like left the coaster. Like it just left
the atmosphere.
It probably got someone in the face as they're walking through the park. It's like, ugh. Anyways, me and Everly, I look over at her. We're just like coming off the coaster. It was great. That's how fast it went.
I know
so
you told me
quickly.
0 to 120
Like
kilometers an hour or
120
something.
kilometers within 3 seconds.
That's really fast.
I lost all the spit in my mouth. So I literally got off the roller coaster and was like,
It's just
like
dry
my
teeth.
everything was sticking. It was just horrible.
I don't know if bodies should be going that fast, like human bodies should be moving that fast that quickly.
No, it was horrible. But so good. I would do it again. So glutton for punishment. Okay, let's get going. I want you to meet the person that I have found
Okay,
for
I'm
our
excited.
very first official guest-based episode. If you haven't had the opportunity to go back and watch and listen to the first episode where Benji and I introduced Leisure is Living, it's actually, I love it. Every time I listen to that episode and watch it, I mostly watch it, I smile.
I've never watched or listened to it back.
Benji!
I can't. I don't think I can do that.
Benji!
I don't think I can do that. I think it's better to be left as just.
It's so
I
good.
was in the moment when
It's
we were
so
doing it.
good. It's so good. And
I'm
like,
glad.
I'll be watching it and I do this because I'm always on my phone. And I'm like perma smiling. But today is different. Today is themed. And today we're talking about relationships and what is the intersection of relationships and leisure. And I think it's really important because one of our core values at JJRT is connection. And not just for the company, but for myself. When I first started the organization, connection has always been really, really important to me in all regards, not just the connection to community and connection to people and connection to, connection from every angle, the connection I have with myself, the connection with the work. Mm-hmm. And so when I was thinking about what are we going to do the second episode on, relationships just kept jumping back to me. And I'm like, I really want to talk about people and what does that look like when we're in relationships with ourselves and others in a leisure lens.
Nuanced, complex.
Very complex.
Lots of angles that you can look at it from.
Thank you.
It was exciting.
So, so let's do this. I'm going to introduce the show. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome back to Leisure is Living. I'm Jessie, and today we're exploring the theme of leisure and relationships. Relationships aren't just built through words or milestones. They're shaped by what we do together. From family rituals to friendships to the way communities gather, research shows that it's not the amount of time that matters most, but the satisfaction of those shared leisure experiences. Those moments of joy, play, and connection often become the glue that holds us together. But what happens when leisure disappears? When life becomes only about survival, or when our culture pushes us to hustle instead of slow down? Today, we're going to explore how leisure, creativity, and play keep our relationships alive with ourselves, with each other, and with the world around us. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest, Hailey Tallman.
Hi, Hailey.
You hear
Nice
all
to
the
meet
crowd
you.
coming in. Hi, Hailey.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good to be here. Yeah.
This is so great. So I didn't officially introduce Hailey other than getting really excited to say your name.
Yeah.
I love your name.
Thank you.
But Hailey, you're an art therapist and you work at the intersection of creativity, care, and human connection.
That is correct.
Yes, your practice and lived experiences highlight the importance of play, slowing down, unplugging, and enjoying life in simple ways, from reading and watching clouds. Oh, I love that so much. To creating art and music. And in your community work, you have firsthand saw how leisure transforms lives. When people are stripped down to the basics of food and sleep, life can become flat and meaningless. But when music, art, and joyful interaction are introduced, you've seen profound shifts. Why don't we just start with that? Give it to us straight, just talk. Tell us a little bit about everything that's going on in your life and let's wrap in some leisure with that.
Sure. Well, when I saw your call out for guests, the first thing that I thought about with what you just said, when you strip away when you strip away leisure and it's just the basics of sleeping, eating, what really came to mind is when I worked at a long-term care facility. And I was working with people with really advanced dementia as an art therapist. And so much of their lives were about just, eating, sleeping, BMs. Can I talk about that here?
Yeah.
Like that's all. I would go to the team meetings and they would talk about the residents.
Do you get told? And for folks out there who are like,
What's a BM?
What is a BM? Just Google it. Just Google it.
And I would go to the meetings and they would talk about, that's all they would talk about. Did they sleep? They didn't even really focus on sleep much, just intake and output.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't say anything about how the person seemed to be feeling or, if they'd interacted with any other residents. It really, was reduced to the basics. And so I was able to bring them, and actually I was hired as an art therapist, but because her dementia was so advanced, I ended up playing a lot of ukulele with them and just and that would activate their memory.
What a shift.
I'm sure you've seen that.
Music's wild.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's amazing.
You know what I think? And anyone who works with folks with dementia, no matter where they are on that journey, music, there's this is how you know magic's real.
Yeah.
Because that person can struggle with recall. They can struggle with every piece. Their ability to speak, their ability to have those orientated conversations. Yeah. As soon as you play music, they know the lyrics.
Yes.
They know the song, the tune. They know how to call for the next song. You're like, okay, what in the voodoo? And I know there's lots of research out there. But I think it's just wild how the brain works.
Yeah.
Like how is it that music's the thing that opens the door for them?
Yes. And so that was always incredible. And what I also felt was, that was just like a bonus.
Yeah.
And that was like a side thing. And a lot of them didn't last very long when they got moved to this stage of their life. I mean, part of it was just the disease, but I felt like they weren't fully living enough.
Yeah.
Like they weren't enjoying life anymore. And so they just kind of, waited or...
Literally in the waiting room.
Yeah. And that music was the only way sometimes that they would connect with each other. And I would give them like little shakers or through their art, we'd get them coloring, using just tactile sensory things. And then they would tell a story like about baking bread, or like I liked to give them like model magic. And then they would, the texture of it, this one gentleman I was working with started remembering how he used to work in his father's bakery and talking about making bread. So just the memories that would come with through these leisure activities in the form of art therapy. Right?
Yeah. And I also think too, the other thing I've noticed a lot working in that holding space, in that space, is even if they weren't making any sense.
Yeah.
And you got to go into their world, the act of validating them and just stepping into that space with them. There were many times I questioned, I'd be like, how true is this? Like, did they really do this? But it became so exhilarating and fun for me.
Yeah.
And it I think where I'm heading with this is like so many people on the clinical side were very like, oh, like there she goes again, going off on this loop. And I'm like, this is so wonderful. We can use this. Like this still counts. And I think we disregard that as like, it doesn't make any sense. They don't know what they're talking about. That's okay. Let's find, because it's meaningful for them. That's what I'm getting at. At the end of the day, somewhere in their brain, they're pulling pieces and then putting it together into this story.
Yeah.
And hey.
And in telling a story, they're relating.
They're connecting. Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps.
And they're being present.
Relational.
Yes.
Yeah. And their presence, like their presence is there when they're telling the story.
Oh,
you can feel them come back to the moment.
Eyes light up.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing.
Yeah. So whatever the content of what they're saying, it doesn't matter as long as you're meeting them in it and you can see them reliving whatever they're telling you about and like whatever emotions come up with that. And I think that just shows that they're there and they're with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're alive.
Yeah.
But they're not living.
No,
Like,
definitely not.
I really felt the
love that
difference.
so much.
They're alive. They're, the nurses, the doctors, Their
Yeah, they're doing their job.
Their function is to keep them alive.
Yeah.
But how much are they living?
Yeah.
And, even opening up the little patio on the balcony and planting flowers. And, we were told, well, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to take care of the flowers. Well, we help them. That's okay.
That's right. I remember when I first started working in dementia care, the most profound thing was taught to me. And they said, you're the starter button. You're officially the starter button. So
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? Like if they don't know to take that step, they don't see the flowers and go, I should probably water those flowers.
Right.
But that's where I get to come in and say, hey, Betty, do you want to, let's go water those flowers together.
Yeah.
Let's go do this.
And then in the act of doing it, they remember.
That's it, right?
Yes.
And it's like, oh, yes, of course, the flowers. And it's like, let's get out there. Let's get out there.
Yes.
And then having these meaningful moments with them. So whenever I think about life in general, like being people's starter buttons, like sometimes we just need that little bit of momentum so that we can move through life with more meaning.
Yes.
And I love when you talk about being alive, but are we truly living? And it's
Exactly.
really where our motto came from, leisure is living, because, often people will say to me, like, leisure is living. Like, what does that even mean? You know? And I'm like, oh, like, it's packed with meaning, right?
Packed.
Because if we're not really living, like, what is living?
Yeah, it's the spice of life. It's right. The other thing I've been doing is I did this yesterday. So excited about this. It's like a dream come true for me. The city of London has hired me to run a pop-up art hive on Dundas Place. So what that
Congrats, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
So
So much
exciting.
fun. So basically, you're walking down Dundas Place. It's closed to cars. So it's opened up for pedestrians. And there's like a bubble machine. There's a DJ. Like they're really trying to get people to come
I
downtown.
have to say, you know what? I'm actually really impressed with the City of London and their efforts to maximize rec and leisure in therapeutic spaces. So like
much
you mentioned
downtown.
that the City of London is giving you this opportunity. They have also given JJRT the opportunity to work with at-risk youth groups, working with our community resource centers.
Amazing.
And I think this is key. When you have cities believing in that relational, holistic care, that's where transformation happens, because we're at the ground level making relationships with people. Like we're creating them.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me.
So people are walking by and I've got, folding tables, folding chairs all set up. And I just covered the table in a big roll of paper.
Yeah.
And then markers. I've got like paint sticks. I had a pile of like interesting textured fabric swatches like I see you have over there.
Yeah.
Like yarn. I had, and then as I was taping the paper down, I was like, this is cool. Tape. Like I had painter's tape. And then I was like, I have all these other colors of tape. So then I put a sign like tape art.
Love that.
And I would just be like, hey, do you want to make tape art? To like a total stranger.
I
They're
love
like,
this.
What's tape art?
I love this so much.
Right? And then they were sitting, the amazing thing to me that happens in an art hive, the magic for me is you'll have people who would never normally interact.
Yep.
Never normally cross paths, sitting at a table together, making art, and then they're getting inspired by each other, right? And so this one woman said she was walking by. Some people I kind of have to coax to come over, or a lot of, you'll get this, a lot of parents will be like, oh, yeah,
For my kid.
my kid, yep, okay, let's go over to make art. My kid will make some art.
Yep.
And then I'm always like, no, you're making art too. And they're like,
Everybody.
oh, I can't. And then I'll be like, okay, we'll just have a seat. And then I'll like sneak over and I'll like pass them, like, I'll give them like a really nice, juicy like material.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they'll be like
Like,
scribbling with it like this. And then they'll be like, next thing I know, they're like super into it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So some people I really have to coax to come over, but then there'll be people who just see it and they're like, I need that today. Mm-hmm. And so this one woman, I've been working with someone else, turn around, she's there, she sat there for hours and drew an intricate like building. I didn't ask where she was from. It doesn't matter. Like all that small talk falls away, right? Mm-hmm. And she was from an Arabic country because, she was wearing a hijab and she was drawing kind of an Arabic style building. And she was telling me about the doors and like, you know, these buildings would have intricate designs, and she spent like hours doing this and not really talking to anyone else, but she would look up and smile at others, and they would see what she was making. And you could see, you know, consciously or unconsciously, some of the little bits of her art appearing in their art.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
So cool.
It's so great.
And then at the end, she just says to me, you know, I was having a really bad day and I saw this. I haven't made art in years, but I came over. I knew I needed to do this. She's like, my day's been transformed. I love that. Right? And that is leisure, is living.
And I love when you say needed to do this. That person knew enough to listen to their intuition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we need to flex that skill more. What do you think?
Yeah, it's I think that's what we run into a lot, like when we talk about like the
so
parents
many.
and kids of being like, I don't do art. I'm not creative.
Everybody is
Can't stand that.
creative. Can we stop with the I'm not creative? You're literally born creative.
We're all
Humans
creative.
are creative.
Yeah.
And I don't know where in the timeline. I did my research in university on Play Beyond Childhood.
Okay.
And so, like, where along our
line.
chronological timeline do we at one point be like, well, that's enough? Like jobs and families and like
it's like workforce. Like going into workforce is not necessarily like tied with creativity, or it's not like the skill that we're taught to really like invest in and like. But
It's
what
like-
we are when we're kids, but then we're like, okay, now imagination is over.
right.
Now,
like
now
you turn 18 and it's like, well, I hope you had fun.
Yeah.
Put the markers away now.
Oh, yeah.
Like now it's time to get serious.
Right.
And like you can, if I were to like paint the timeline of my life, and you know me, we go back. I think I've done a fair job at really maintaining the creativity in my life. But that's not to say that society had a whole other agenda for me.
Right.
Like there were so many conversations in my life where it was like, Jessie, when are you going to get a real job?
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times when I went from college and I announced I was going to go get an art degree, and like I'm sure you've experienced this, people are like, oh, art. And you're like, yeah, it's going to be great. I'm going to be an art teacher. And they're like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's
all right,
nice.
oh, good job. and then it went from, okay, well, I'm actually going to go, I'm not going to university. And my story of my husband and I met when I was 18. I was literally on my way to OCAD. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to go to AutoCAD. And that was a whole other show about my mom and I and that conversation. But, you know, and then him and I toured across Canada playing music, and he brought that back to me and said, like, why go to school right away? Like, you're 18.
Yeah.
Like, go live life.
Right.
Go travel. Go meet people. Go play music. Get on stages. Sleep on floors. Like, let's have fun. And we traveled across Canada. I am not exaggerating. And there was pennies back in the day. I had less than a penny. Less. I had no money, and we did it.
Yeah.
Now, would I recommend it as a 40-year-old woman with children? Like, no. It's probably
that's
a little.
something you do when you're younger.
But you know, and like I bring all this up because every time I would do something, there was a naysayer saying oh, you're homeless? Like you're just traveling right now? Okay, what are you going to do when you get back? Well, I think I'm going to go to Fanshawe for culinary. Oh, she's going to go. Now you want to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, I love to cook. Okay, but you don't really do that as a career. And I'm like, why
you
not?
can.
Right? And so every time I would choose something creative, people were like, okay, but like, what's the thing that's going to generate the money?
Right. And I understand that thinking, but it's fear-based.
It's fear-based.
And now I'm able to, but it does impact you even when when you know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
I know it's coming from like fear, scarcity. There's a lot of that, right? It's in the air we breathe in this in capitalism. You know, it's but like right? But like everybody realized the importance of leisure, I think, during COVID because right?
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Everything else was stripped away.
Everything.
And relationships were stripped away.
Yep. And what did people do? They started to learn how to make bread.
Yeah. Well, because you have permission.
They started getting back into their hobbies, arts and crafts.
Yeah. Because they were allowed to. I think that was like, because there's like, you have permission to do that.
Yes.
But otherwise,
gosh.
like
my
you're
whole
saying,
face just lit up in goosebumps. Like,
Yeah.
like your husband gave you permission to do music and to do art and being like, this is allowed. Like,
this
you
is
can
good.
do
You
this.
can do this.
And like, we do need that
Well,
permission.
again, at the Pop-Up Art Hive, I literally have to give permission. I'll put a marker in. I have Mr. Sketch, the smelly markers.
What a great intro. Yeah.
It's so, these things are priceless. I swear.
Hailey, I'm the kid adult that's in the corner. Like,
oh no,
like great.
But that's how I use them.
Good.
Great. It's so good.
My head just fell off. I got so excited.
You're like on the roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster all over again.
No, but like they're like, I can't do art. I can't do art. I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. And then I hand them the grape Mr. Sketch, and I take the lid off, and I'm like, just like. Just give it a whiff. And they're like,
smell the 80s.
And you see that?
Yeah.
It's the 80s.
The memories come flooding back.
It's so
and
good.
Suddenly, it's like that inner child is awakened.
Yeah.
Right? The sense of smell is one of the longest.
1991, Mrs. Baldwin
was
my grade 1 teacher.
Right?
She had Mr. Sketch all over. And those paste jars. The brown ones with the crusty lipstick lids.
Ew.
You didn't get those, did you?
No, I don't think I got those.
They go way back. Same with Crayola crayons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I read about an art therapy group where it was with Indigenous women, and the art therapist brought out, like, they didn't even get to the art because she brought out, they each got a pack of brand new Crayola crayons. They opened it, and the tears just started flowing.
Yeah.
And because they were brought back to like hard memories, but, like the childhood memories, right, of using those crayons. And so it's the same thing with the pop-up art hive. I'm giving them permission, and I'm giving them like this Mr. Sketch, and before you know it, they're like, I'm just gonna like, okay, like I remember the smell. I want to remember the sound of the marker on the paper, and I want to remember the texture.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, they're drawing, and they're like, oh, I can't draw. And then I say, no problem, make some lines. Like, it's unbelievable the amount of restrictions we put on ourselves.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And like result based.
My eyes are watering.
Yeah.
I really am getting so emotional because, like, it's so true. Yeah. It's so true. And I wish more people just understood that it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. If you make like 3 lines on a piece of paper, you did.
That's
amazing.
That's
were you really present when you did that? Did you listen to the sound of the marker?
Exactly.
Did you smell it? Like, that's the goal. The goal is not the result, but I do feel like we are very result focused.
That's the capitalism.
Like, what are you producing?
What am I producing? And when we went from, so actually I have experience working in Reggio Emilia, and I thank that school, that company, every single day for introducing to me this approach to early childhood education, that I have now taken that philosophy.
Is that in Europe?
Yes, Italy.
What's the name of it again?
Reggio Emilia. So it's actually a space in Italy. And, but the philosophy behind it is 100 languages of children. So basically, we all have ways that we show up and communicate and live life and express ourselves. But everything's natural and very organic, right? So when we're not using plastics, we're really focusing on like those natural spaces, natural light, and utilizing them in creative ways. And it goes much deeper than what I'm sharing. But what you were saying, and I've lost my train of thought now.
This results-based mindset.
Yes, so the whole thing about Reggio Emilia is it's not product-based. It's process-based. And I remember when I first learned this back in like 2007, I was like, what is this process stuff, right? And I'm still practicing. It's still ingrained in me to be product-based.
Yeah, same.
Everything is like, what's the end result? What's the end result? Even in recreational therapy, and I know for you, art therapy, it's the same thing we're taught in school is like, okay, well, what are the goals and objectives that are going to get you the output, the outcome? What is the outcome?
And you get graded on it.
Yes. And I used to say, should we not be looking at the efficacy of the individual versus the objective? Because anybody can check off a box and say, I did it. Like I did university. Do you think every single objective that I did in university created self-efficacy? No, but I did it. Yeah. It's the transformation happens when we learn to appreciate, and I know it's so dry because the quotes that are out there, like fall in love with the journey. But it really is about falling in love with the journey and like being okay with being in the journey and not knowing the future.
And that's what steals the joy from the art. And that's why so many adults are like, oh, I don't do art, or I'm not good at it, or whatever, is because it's focused on the end results, focused on the product. Yeah. And their kid just like looks at them and goes, mom's making art with me.
Oh, and that's the relationship.
And then the relationship, right?
I love how you just brought that right around.
I did have one mom who was like, no, I'm not making anything, but she was like actively helping her daughter like with her art.
That's the permission. That's the permission.
And her daughter was all about it. She was like, Mom, help me glue this here. And they were, and my job as the facilitator of the art hive is just to like point out those connections or encourage them or just be like, see, like, notice how you feel right now. Like, you did it.
Yeah.
You can do this. And, I had 2 adult women friends of mine walking by. I'm like, hey guys, look, come join. They're like, okay, 10 minutes. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Half an hour later, they're like with the tape making, and then they got into conversation about like, and they weren't even comparing the product because it was abstract. That's the other thing. Mind blowing. You don't have to make it look like anything.
Nothing.
You can just play with colors, pieces of tape, making patterns.
I love it.
Right? And then they were like, yours is like this and mine is like this. And that says something about her personality. And they had this whole really cool conversation. And so I very much relate to just, right? We've always gotten each other because we're about that process and about what it does for people. Like it brings you alive.
Yeah. I love all of this. And it makes me think of like, so I've got a bunch of questions written out, but of course the best questions come from just like listening to you speak. I feel very validated hearing Hailey speak because I think you and I and everybody who's working at JJRT and as a whole in the therapeutic rec field, one of the things that we often feel is not validated. And it's not about the therapist. This is not like the shift I'm taking in this podcast. We want to really focus on the impact leisure has in relationships. But it's validating to hear you say that because we see the magic every single day. And I just want rec therapists out there, art therapists, anybody who's in a creative field holding space for people. It's not lost on us that this is happening. And I think we just need to keep that magic happening for people. Yeah. Because it's real. So I'm going to go back to some of my questions and get us back on track because good conversation. What do you think, Hailey, gets in the way of leisure and connection in today's culture?
Yeah.
Like I know we talked a little bit. We started to just graze, that capitalistic mind frame, but I'd love to hear your perspective.
Again, this idea of like, it has to be useful. We always have to be being productive, right? And with women a lot, so one of the things I do is I'm the community development coordinator at Crouch Neighborhood Resource Center. And so one of the things I run there is a women's art group. And, some women won't come, but if you're like, you can make stuff for someone and gift it to them.
Oh, geez.
Okay.
That's a way Jedi to mind trick them.
I do. And so they get women in when they're doing something for others. Yeah. Then they'll do it, right? So I think just doing things for ourselves, it's not allowed. It's like selfish. And also just time constraints, being moms, having other people depending on us.
You know what? I hear you because, so when my kids were born, I had a very distinct definition of obviously the definition of who I am as a mother has changed and morphed. But when I was a new mom, and I've stayed true to this, I said, my children are separate from me. They are not extensions of me, which I think many people just, unfortunately, that is the way they parent, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, like, Everly and Amelia are completely separate human beings that deserve their own lives. And so from the very first moments, I was like, no, like, Mom, would you like to have the kids? Oh my gosh, they're 3 weeks old. Yeah, that's okay. I have things I need to get done. I need to go make art. I need to go play music. Me and Andy were still playing. We were still creating. And people would be like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? Do what? How do you just let your mom take the baby so young? And I'm like, well, when, the whole village thing. I was like, that's the idea is like, and I can't lose who I am as a person because then what kind of person do I become for that other person?
Yes.
Evie needs me for that. And Yeah, and I'm not saying that it hasn't been hard as we've like been raising our children to maintain creativity in our lives and leisure. But it's something I'm conscious of where I'm like, Evie will be like, are you sure, Mom? Like, are you sure we should do this? And I'm like, no, you should go. I think it's really important that you go and do this.
Yeah.
And I trust that you're going to have a great time. And I'm going to actually stay home tonight and knit or do whatever. And choosing, being active, proactive in choosing when we separate and do our own things and really holding space for that.
And then that's how kids, like, I didn't see my mom doing anything for herself.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
And that's how we learned that.
Yep.
And that's how it just keeps going, this
Or
cycle.
my nanny.
Right?
Or it was always just dishes, cleaning. Oh, I got to start getting supper ready. You know, your papa will be home by 4.
Yep.
Dinner's got to be on the table. And
my
I'm
dad
like,
got to have leisure time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, and there was something in me that just knew that was wrong. And I don't know. My mom didn't show me, but now I'm showing, my stepkids, I'm showing, and it takes a lot for me to for women to be convinced, the women that I work with, that you can do something for yourself.
I agree.
And so a lot of the women who come to my women's art group are seniors, and they're like finally doing it.
okay,
Like, now that
right?
I've,
Oh
now
my
that
gosh.
I've like gone through
Retired.
this, yeah.
And I say this too, isn't it sad that we have to live this life before we're finally given back permission?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the word retirement. It's like, what does that even mean?
What does that
Like,
mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah. And when we opened the very first community-based therapeutic rec space, people were like, wow, anybody has access to rec therapy now. We don't have to wait to be ill or hurt or
done
retired.
work. Yeah.
Anybody can come in and learn how to do leisure.
Yeah.
And I say learn because it is a skill. Like, people have been taught to not prioritize leisure. And in return, it affects our everything.
Everything. Stress. Like,
Everything. So going back to leisure and relationships, tell me about leisure in your own life and the relationships you have in your life, and like how do they intersect?
yeah. So my former stepkids and I, like, that's how we would connect, through playing games. Love board games, right? Making art together. So my favorite thing is put the phone in the middle of the table, right? Not using it for the phone, but using it for music.
Yeah.
Lots of art supplies. We would have art jams. So
Love that.
and
that's
it's my turn to pick a song. I pick a song, right? And then we're just lots of art supplies. This is the other thing with the Pop-Up Art Hive. It's non-directive art.
Choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure.
Love that.
Right? And
So good.
And a lot of people, you do art. Oh, you do arts and crafts. You teach them, like, you do like butterflies with pom-poms or whatever. No. Like, you put, and it's amazing what they would come up with.
Yeah.
Or what people come up with at the Pop-Up Art Hive. So, pile of fabric. I put like an old sock in there. It was clean.
Yeah.
But had a cool pattern on it.
Yeah.
Right? People turn it into puppets. Or this one woman came by. I'm like, what are you making? She made like a manta ray out of.
Wow.
Anyway, just to say, like, the relationships come from what happens, what my Concordia professor, who coined the term art hives, Janice Timbodos, would talk about is like each one teach ones. The funny thing is we're coming back to things that we always did.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like each
Yeah.
one, now it has a name. Each one teach one. Okay, what is that? It's like when you would sit around a fire or a table together and create, and what are you making? Oh, cool. And I would learn a skill from you.
Yeah.
This is before school. This
We
is
do
before.
leisure swap shops.
Yeah.
So people come in with a skill that's leisure based, and then anyone who comes has to be prepared to teach the other person a leisure skill,
Right?
leisure thing.
Right? Another thing I do, okay, in terms of relationships, is the classic when you're an adult. We should get together sometime.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen.
No.
So
Empty
I've started
words.
this thing. Can I say the B word on here?
I think so. Sure.
Okay.
I mean, if it's intentional and
Okay.
purposeful, I think so.
I have something called a stitch and
Oh, yes, I know about this. I was like, where are we heading with that word? But
Like, what do you-
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
keep
once a
going.
month,
Yeah.
the last Friday of every month. And I've been doing this for a year and a half now. And now
Yes.
people just know.
Yes.
And it's actually hard to cancel now because, like,
Yeah,
if
they're
something
waiting.
comes up, people come to my house anyway. I'm not there.
Oh, that's
anyway,
so great.
it's so funny.
Talk about
But
relationships.
stitch it. So it's like that permission for, and it's for women, my female friends, even people that I like know a little bit. Like I've met you once. You can come. And basically what it is people bring something they've been working on or something, people bring stuff that they've put on the back burner for years, like a little project that actually lights them up, but they're like, never make time for it. We say we don't have time. No, we don't make time. Because we're all scrolling on our phones.
Benji knows. I always say this. I'm always like, it's about making time.
Yeah, you sound like me. Exactly. And they'll bring it and they'll work on it. And the conversations, they won't know a lot of the other women. I've had people like find jobs through coming to the Stitch and Bench because they like meet new people, they network. Okay, but that's like a side benefit.
It's just a side effect.
It's a side effect. It's a side benefit.
so
The
good.
real benefit is people don't bring alcohol. They can, but they don't because they have something to do with their hands. And it takes away that pressure of like staring into people's eyes that you don't know and like the small talk all disappears.
Yeah. It's
right?
like a connector already. Yeah.
It connects.
Yeah.
So, and then like the each one teach ones happen naturally. So, people have learned how to knit, crochet. What are you working on? That's so amazing. I've had people they're like, I don't know I'm not creative. Okay, well, first of all, that's not true.
Yeah.
But they bring like an IKEA
Just put, like,
photo
a sign
frame
up.
and they like put together their photo frame.
Love it.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. You can
But
just body double at the same time.
Yes.
Just bring,
It's just body doubling.
Yeah.
Part of it. And so that is something else I've done very intentionally as a way to build relationships. And then there's no excuse anymore. There's no like, we should get together sometime.
Yeah, because you always have that open invitation.
I
and
do.
I remember the very first time you put it out there and I was invited and I had all the motivation to go. And I still want to come. But Fridays for me are like my down night.
Yeah.
Where it's like, go. Friday, it's like, oh.
Yeah, and you don't
And
want to
then-
come to the other
but-
side of the city. Yeah.
Honestly, though, here's the other thing, though, that I've talked to friends about. I said, like, I prioritize what I think is important. So driving to the other end of the city for something, like my youngest wanted to go to the School of Hip Hop, East End.
Love it.
We met there one day.
Yep.
And it does not bother me to drive when it's intentional and purposeful.
Yeah,
Like, I'm okay
and
to
for
do those
leisure.
things. And for leisure. Like, I'm all about it. I am going to make more of an effort to come out because I have to ask, was it you, Hailey? Years ago. I want to say almost like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You guided me into a basement in the East End on Dundas. Where were we? We just met and it was like an art collective, an art space, and it was dark and dingy. Where were we? I know it was you
Was
and
it
me.
heavy metal?
No, but there was like people who just showed up and you put paints out and we would just make art and every
sounds
week
like
we'd
me.
yeah.
Like,
And it was in
definitely would
conjunction.
probably be.
It was with this other person.
Yeah.
And I remember we would just like go into this like really red lit space. Am I dreaming this? I swear to
You know what?
God,
It's very
was us.
possible to happen.
Okay, well,
I love doing that with
Well,
people.
regardless, it had impact on me.
Okay.
Because I think about it still to this day.
Yeah.
And I wonder if a lot of the influence that comes into this space is from these little odd pockets of memories I have where I'm like, how did I feel when you invited me in to this unknown space, unknown people?
Yeah. But then it was
And
okay.
it was okay.
It was kind of scary,
And
but you
I-
got there and it was okay.
Yeah, because of your generosity for the invitation. It was like, hey, come with me. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Let's do this together. Not like get there and like peace.
And what we have to do is, and we do all the time that we don't even think about, is we believe, even when other people don't believe that they're creative, we believe in it.
Co-create.
We believe, and we have to keep that alive all the time. That's why I'm always inviting people. They need that invitation, they need that permission, and they need when we believe and we know, not even believe, we know they're creative.
Yeah.
We know that they need leisure. We know that they're going to connect through it. We have to keep that belief alive. So, and then a lot of people need to be guided actually into it.
Like
held their
physically.
hand, guided into it, given a purple Mr. Sketch, and then they believe in it.
Yeah.
But it's not just about it won't work when you just tell them about it.
You got to like
right?
plant the seed for them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then so that they can start seeing it
Yes.
themselves.
They have to experience it.
Yeah.
You know?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, of course.
Just like as this conversation going, I just like the word community keeps popping into my brain. So I guess what do you think the role of leisure is in building community? And I know we've talked about it, but I guess I just want to like kind of ask it outright. And then even more so, what does community mean to you?
Oh,
Yeah.
such great questions,
Huge.
Benji.
Yeah. And the word community gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to be super honest.
Yeah,
I think
it really
in our
does.
in our individualistic society, I think we don't know what true community is. We're rediscovering it. I think it comes up a lot because we're realizing how much we need it, but we don't quite know what it is.
Because maybe we've never fully felt it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so another thing about me is I'm a huge cycling advocate. Not
You
like
are. I
not
love
like
that.
wearing the Lycra and getting out, for sport, but like to me, a barrier and then something that builds community is we're zooming around our communities in cars and we're not making eye contact. We don't see our neighborhoods, right? It's not a human speed. Cars, we're just so used to them, but we don't realize it's not a human speed. A bike slows us down. We start to notice things in our neighborhood, notice things in our communities. We start to see our neighbors. Like we make eye contact with them, we see them, we notice their gardens, we stop, we have conversations. Community to me is that daily interaction.
Yeah.
I want to get one of those free libraries and put it on my front lawn so that I can interact through people engaging in my little free library.
We want to
We
do
don't
a free
know our
rec
neighbors.
therapy library.
Oh, cool.
So like out
what?
front.
How would that?
So basically like an art library.
Yeah.
Where we could put in intentional invitations, like invitations for people to explore leisure in microdoses, but then exchange it in the library.
What would actually be in the
like
library?
some books, just like
Okay,
a
yeah,
library.
yeah.
But art supplies.
Yes.
Canvases.
Yeah.
Maybe a hidden playlist.
Ooh.
Right? So getting people to get curious about leisure, but then swapping it out for other people and being like, I listen to this playlist. I've got one for you.
Oh, cool.
I know. And
Yeah,
you
we
bring
just-
it up and now I'm like, ooh, maybe we really need to like act on that.
Yeah.
I have so many ideas.
It's really neat.
Keep telling me about
But it's
community.
also
This is so good.
just interacting with people who aren't in your little circle already.
Yeah, your comfort
right?
levels.
Your comfort level. Because the number one way to combat racism, to combat any kind of phobia or ism is to know somebody who is of that group. And in my social circles, might not be that diverse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
How do you like understand marginalization when you've never really seen it up close and you only really get to see it through people's
or
experiences?
knowing someone's story.
Yeah.
Right?
Their lived experience.
And there's a lot of fear in all cities in London about we now at my job at Crouch we call them we don't say call them, but we say they have no fixed address or people who are unhoused.
Yeah.
I like to say people who are unhoused, not
Person first language.
homeless,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it matters.
And you know what? They come to our food cupboard and we meet them and some of them just want to have a conversation. They just want to connect. And we're giving them like canned goods, Chef Boyardee, things that are not great for necessarily their health, but it's like getting them through. But it's more, some of them just come for the connection at the food cupboard.
Yeah.
And then they're so grateful.
It's true. I
and-
volunteered for St.
right?
Joseph's Hospitality Center on Dundas. And it was during my college years as a chef in training.
Nice.
And I got to serve lunch to the unaddressed. And the conversations, I remember this young woman coming in with 3 children and saying, like, this is the first hot meal I've had in days, weeks. And I had to go to the back because I kept crying.
Yes.
I kept just, like, feeling, like, the immense understanding of my privilege
Yeah.
just showed right up at my doorstep and was like, hi.
Yes.
like, so you thought you had it bad. Like, you realize in that moment that, like, there's so much opportunity for us as humans to do simple things that are life-changing.
Yes. And it goes both ways.
goes both
I
ways.
feel great. You feel great.
Yeah,
And
yes.
those are our neighbors.
They are our neighbors.
They're in our community.
I love this so
They're in
much.
our community. And so that's community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if you don't have spare change, when someone's got a sign, they're sitting on the sidewalk, talk to them.
Everly and Amelia.
They're human beings.
We go into Walmart, and I'm pretty sure at every Walmart, we have friends that are around the Walmart.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to be really honest. The very first time my youngest, Amelia, invited me to do this, I was like, no. We don't have time. Like, get in. Let's get out. We're shopping. Mama, they look hungry. Maybe we should go through and make a lunch for them. And I was like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
We've got to get in and get out. Mom, it doesn't take much to grab an apple and a granola bar and a bottle of water. And I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit, who am I right now?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now every time we go to Walmart, my husband, I'm so proud of him, husband, kids, myself, we go in, we do our groceries, we do whatever we're doing there, but we always
grab.
buy a box of granolas, we buy apples, fruit, banana, Gatorade, something hydrating,
Yes.
water, and we bring it out to them.
Yep.
And yes, it feels great. It does feel good.
Yeah.
But there's something more to it. It just feels like that is my job. That is part of our being here.
Yeah.
Is we need to be more compassionate, empathetic. And one of the big profound things, and I didn't get to do it yesterday in my group, but I have had the opportunity to teach compassion and empathy at a therapeutic level. And one of the most profound things that Brené Brown actually taught me is that compassion and empathy only come from the shared suffering. That none of us are immune to suffering
No.
and pain.
No.
And when we are able to step into our own darkness, can we only meet others in their darkness?
Yep.
And it's not about someone being inferior to us.
No.
It's not about fixing people,
No.
but it's about looking them straight in the eye and being like, I know what darkness feels like for me.
Yeah.
And this might be your darkness. So let me be there for you.
Yeah.
And we can do this together.
Yeah.
I
Just ask them how their day was.
Yeah.
You know, connect.
Anything.
You know, have a conversation, laugh. I don't know, talk about the weather, whatever.
Whatever.
I do hear like a lot of what you're saying is just this practice of going slow. And I do think that when we feel the like I don't have time for it and like we just kind of run a lot from whatever we're feeling, whatever that discomfort comes up, and the first instinct is I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna get in my car, drive out of this
Make
feeling.
no eye contact.
No eye contact
Yeah.
and avoid.
Not even with the cashier, right?
Yeah. But when you go slow, you can't avoid. Like when you're walking through your neighborhood, you just can't. Like, yeah, people step around, people go on the opposite side of the street, but like you have to really actively
Choose.
choose to do
Yes.
that. But when you are really slow and really thinking about what you're surrounded by and the presence attached with the slowness, I just feel like it's harder to really miss what's going on.
Yeah.
And then like those blinders get removed and
Yeah.
then you really can't put them back on.
Yeah.
And that's just, it kind of just changes the way that you exist. I know that's the practice for me of just like going slow and being more present.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of like community help me with those things. And just like being able to witness, even my partner, just go slow, ask someone how their day's going. Is there anything you might need right now? Like, can we grab you something? And just witnessing it helps me now practice it. And it's just like that learning, and it is a practice. If it's
Slow
not,
down and just
yeah,
And
if you're
being
not
good role
doing that.
models for our
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
We need to
So now
role
with the
models.
girls teaching me and being aware of how we can show each other, you know, taking the cart back for somebody. I'll see someone like, you know, an older adult who's struggling with their cart and putting it out. I'll just go right up with my kids and be like, can I take that back for you? Oh my gosh,
Yes.
no, it's okay. No, it's fine. I'd love to do it.
they're heavy.
Right? And my kids will be like, Mama, that was so nice. And I'm like, well, it's a duty. Like we owe each other that, right?
What do we owe each other? I love that's a good place line that I love so much. What do we owe each other? And it's just this of being just like, what do we owe other humans? And like, it's just kindness and like and then realizing, are we doing that equitably? Like, are we really doing that across the board? Or are there humans that we
just to our friends?
Yeah.
You just like gave me Ani DeFranco, my favorite in the whole world, said we don't owe each other. Oh wait, the world owes me nothing. We owe each other the world.
That's really beautiful.
And every time I think about that, it's like, no, the world owes me nothing.
Yeah.
But we do owe each other the world.
Yeah. And that's what all of those little moments, that's leisure. That's like the moments that make life, right? And just slowing down. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so.
It was great.
They're questions not really for answers, they're just questions to explore.
Where are we in time? Ooh, let's wrap up.
All right.
Right, let's
Go
cut
by
that
fast.
out. This has been such an extraordinary conversation. I really have enjoyed it. There's been a lot of moments where I felt immense gratitude sitting here. My eyes like definitely got watery very many times.
I saw it.
Yeah, I just think like, I know the three of us sitting here, or everyone in the room believes it. We do. We believe the magic. We see the magic. We work with the magic.
Yeah.
I guess like my plea or my call is like, what is the question on the table is like, how do we convince or teach or transform other people to know, to do what we feel? Like, how do we do that? Like I always say to Benji and the team at JJRT, like, how do you bring people in who don't know that they need this?
Right.
Right?
Invite them.
Like,
give them permission.
Yeah. But like, how do you convince someone that it is something they're missing? Right? Because like we have conversations all the time with people where I'm like, you should come and do this rec thing with us. And they're like, I do rec. And I'm like, but do you?
Yeah.
Like, but do you? Let's be really honest with ourselves right now. Like, I know that you're not.
Because it's so hard for us to do it, and we know like we see it and we live it every day, and we know how hard it is.
Yeah, and I have people in my life who will say, I don't need rec therapy. I can easily just go and do recreation myself.
Yeah.
You can, but do you? And if you are doing it, who's asking the provocative questions? Where are the conversations coming from? Where are you being inspired by next?
Are you being intentional?
Challenged.
Are you being intentional?
Purposeful.
When you're being recreational, or are you just is it
doing
another
it?
task?
Yeah.
Yes.
check
Are we
off.
just checking
the
off?
list. Yeah.
Right? Are you going slow? Are you like being present?
good.
Yeah.
I just thank you so much. My very last question for you, and I want you to answer it for us. Leisure is living
Yeah.
because.
Leisure is living because that's what makes life worth living. That's the actual living part of life is leisure.
It's so true.
Love it.
Thank you
Well
so
said.
much. We've covered so much today, from the role of play and creativity to the radical importance of slowing down and connecting through leisure. What I take from this conversation is that leisure isn't just an extra in our lives. We know this. We need to keep spreading the good word. It's one of the most powerful ways that we show care, we create joy, and we strengthen our bonds. And now I just want to thank you again so much for being here. Hailey, thank you,
My pleasure.
Benji, for
Thank you. It's lovely to meet you.
Yeah.
This has
Awesome.
been so good.
To meet you too.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.